Hi, my name is Steve Clifford, and today I'm going to talk about a range technique that you might be able to use to help you sight in your scout rifle. Now, if you are like most people, when you go to the range, you set up on a shooting bench and you take your support hand and you bring it underneath the gun to support it in the back. That's what most people do. And if you look at the guys that are shooting from prone, they're doing the same thing. They'll go down, they'll get lined up, they'll take their support hand, put it back here and hold the gun. And they've seen all the guys with the sniper rifles and all those long range shooters in this position, and that's what they're emulating. And it makes good sense. You have multiple points of contact. You have the front of the gun that is contacting the ground by way of your sandbag. You have a point of contact on your shoulder and your cheek, and then you have an extra point of contact down here, and you can double up your fist. You can move your hand back and forth on the stock so that you get a nice, good, solid level platform for taking your shots, for sighting in your rifle. The guys in the sniper community are using these things or something similar to it. It's a squeeze bag, sometimes called a sniper sock, and they will bring it in and stick it under the gun here and then just squeeze up and down, and it makes for a really, really solid way to shoot. However, about a year ago, I read an article from a guy who said that is the absolute wrong way to shoot a lightweight rifle. He says it works great on heavy rifles. And the guys that are shooting these sniper rifles, these guns are 15, 16, sometimes up to 20 pounds worth of rifle. And with those guns, that technique makes a lot of sense. Well, this other guy was arguing that that doesn't make sense for the lightweight rifles. And the reason is the lightweight rifles can end up bouncing. When you pull the trigger, things start happening as soon as the bullet unseats from the shell, and the gun can start to move. And he argues that a lot of people will get vertical stringing. That means that you get a group that is taller than it is wide, because the front end of the gun is actually bouncing during recoil. So he argued that the best way to sight in a rifle would be to loop up into your sling. You've got a loop sling, or you should. Loop up, then lay your hand on the sandbag itself and use that to sight in your rifle. And that way, during recoil, the gun can't move because you have this sling holding it in place. Now, I've tried that, and it does work, but there's an obvious downside. There's nothing supporting the bottom of the gun. So for a 100-yard shot, no big deal. You start looking at those longer ranges though, and it can become a big deal. So I'm not sure that's the right solution. But I gotta tell you, this gun I've had for 20 years, and in those 20 years, I've never been satisfied with the accuracy that I get from the bench. Field shooting is great, but from the bench, I have seen that vertical stringing, and it drives me absolutely crazy. So the last time I went shooting, I decided to see, is there a way that I can get a rear bag underneath it and still create the stability that I needed up front? And I came up with something. And I don't know if I'm the first one to come up with this, but again, you've got your loop sling here. Take your squeeze bag, but first put your arm through the loop. Don't run it all the way up, just up to your elbow. Now, go down into position there. You see what I've done here? I've got the stability of the sling to hold it in place up front, but I still have my squeeze bag. Now, when I take a shot, the gun stays solid because I am looped into it here, but I also have my squeeze bag. And it makes for an incredibly stable position. And the results were mind-boggling. Again, I was shooting at 360 yards, and I was consistently throughout the day shooting 2.5 inch groups at that range. That is almost half an MOA accuracy out of an 8-pound rifle with a 16-inch barrel and a 5-power scope. That's better than I would have ever expected, and better than I've ever experienced with this gun. And I credit it to using the squeeze bag and using that front sling to hold the front of the gun in place. Now, like I said, I'm not sure I've invented anything here. Somebody else may have tried this before, somebody else might be using this technique, but I've never heard of it. So I wanted to share it here and see if any of my viewers have heard anything of this. And if you haven't, give it a try. Post in the comments. Let me know how this technique works for you. I'm really trying to make this work. And again, this is a technique for the shooting range. This isn't really a field position, although maybe in some hunting situations you could find yourself with a front rest and the ability to have a squeeze bag. But really, this is just for sighting in your rifle. The other thing is, this can work from the bench as well. And I don't have a shooting bench, obviously, but if you've got it up on the shooting bench, why not do the same thing? It'll work. So give it a try the next time you go to the range. Let me know how it works for you. My name is Steve Clifford. I hope this has been helpful. If you have liked it, please hit the like and subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.